kehidupan mereka merasa sangat aneh. Mereka rasakan saat mereka ada di negara Malaysia karena adanya hal-hal negatif di negara itu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Berjumpa lagi bersama saya di sini Indra SFN yang akan terus menyapa teman-teman semua di sana. Semoga kita semuanya dalam keadaan baik-baik saja, sehat senantiasa jasmani juga rohaninya. Seperti biasa, saya mengucapkan selamat beraktivitas bekerja sehari-hari. Semoga diberikan kelancaran dan kemudahan oleh Tuhan yang Maha Kuasa. Amin amin ya robbal alamin. Oke, di sini ada cerita yang aneh, guys. Asli ini adalah cerita yang unik dan juga aneh, bahwa ini adalah statement atau pengakuan dari satu keluarga orang, ya, turis yang berasal dari Kanada. Dia merasa sangat aneh dengan kehidupannya di Malaysia. Ada apa di sana, guys, ya? Mengapa dia mampu mengatakan hal itu? Berbeda dengan kehidupan dia di Kanada. Dia mengatakan secara jujur bahwa ketika dia sampai di Malaysia, kehidupannya menjadi berubah dan tidak biasa. Hal itu membuat dia merasa aneh. Nah, guys, aneh yang dimaksud itu apa, guys? Apakah Malaysia itu terlihat aneh selama ini? Menurut saya tidak, ya, guys, ya. Tapi tentu berbeda pula pandangan dari orang lain, ya, guys, ya, termasuk dari bule asing ini. Kenapa dia merasa aneh kehidupannya satu keluarga di Malaysia? Kita akan mendengarkan secara rinci statement dia, mengapa dia mengatakan hal tersebut. Oke, sebelum kita mereaksi video itu, alangkah baiknya bagi Anda yang belum membantu, belum mendukung channel ini, silahkan kalian support dengan mengklik tombol subscribe dan aktifkan notifikasi bel agar tidak ketinggalan update video terbaru dari channel ini. Yes, langsung saja tanpa banyak basa-basi kita akan mereaksi video itu. Jom.
So I guess we can say we weren't really there as tourists because we lived there. Like we were in an apartment, you know, we were cooking food, we were living there. We stayed in one place for a whole month and then we moved to another place and basically stayed there for an entire month. So yeah. But
we were on a tourist visa.
We were on a tourist visa at that time. So,
and we were touring.
And we left the country twice.
Yep.
Went back. So yeah, unrelated. But
so
anyways.
We kind of broke it down into 3 different categories.
Yeah.
The physical part, the mental part, and the spiritual side of it.
Yeah.
To see, is it better than where we're from?
Yeah.
Is it worse?
And we've talked about this many times. If you guys want to just go into like our playlist, the Hijra playlist, we've talked about how it compares to Canada. But this is not. This video is not really about comparing. It's just about kind of just discussing how we felt and how different we felt being there.
From our time there. Okay. Yeah. So number 1, I think, is the healing power of nature.
Yeah, the physical aspect.
Absolutely. So we're...
Yeah, the vitamin D.
Yeah, vitamin D, the grounding, walking around barefoot on the beaches.
Which you can't do anywhere else.
That's what I was going to say. So we go inside in like October.
We hibernate.
And then we come out in May.
For 8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard. You don't feel connected to nature when there's snow on the ground.
Some people do.
I don't know.
Some people do. That's cool. We're not snow people, as we've mentioned a million times.
Yeah.
We need the lush greenery. We need the jungle, rainforest.
We need the vitamin D. I think that is like the #1 thing. Is we always supplement with vitamin D back home, like 2,000 IU. Like we're diehard vitamin D fans, but when it comes to Malaysia, like we didn't take any supplements. We were just outside pretty much every single day, soaking in the sun. And there's something so therapeutic about being in the sun.
And 40% of people are vitamin D deficient. And if you got dark skin...
Is that in North America?
Yeah. And so the darker your shade of skin you have, the more deficient, not the more deficient you'll be, but the less easily your skin will absorb it from the sun. So when you're white, you get recharged with the vitamin D really quick.
It's like battery level. It just charges your battery.
Exactly. But, so if we go out at the same time, I get 10 times more than you.
Obviously, I mean, I'm a hijabi, so the vitamin D I'm getting is like my face and my hands and feet.
But also on the flip side of that is that the darker your skin, the more protection you have from the sun. So it's a balance.
But still, regardless of like how much your skin is soaking it in, you still feel
100%.
the benefits of being in the sunshine. So
absolutely.
Just like seeing the blue skies.
Kita pause. Jadi di sini keterangan dari mereka ya bahwa di Kanada itu kekurangan sinar matahari itu 40% kekurangan vitamin D, guys. Namun keterangannya apabila di Malaysia itu karena banyaknya sinar matahari yang rasa mencukupi, guys ya. Jadi tidak rasa kekurangan vitamin D itu. Oke, ini di awal ia katakan nih, guys ya. Baik, kita akan teruskan lagi apa saja yang ia katakan ya. Selanjutnya dari topik ini, guys, kita lanjutkan.
Like the good weather. And even on days like when you're in KL, you're in Malaysia, yeah, there's definitely cloudy days, but when you go outside, it's hot.
Yeah.
It's always hot. So you feel humid. good, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely a game changer for sure. So with that, obviously, you get a huge amount of energy level boost.
Yeah.
Which is probably one of the biggest things because
Yeah.
we're always on the go. There's not too many days where we just stayed at home.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, so energy boost is big. We still don't sleep. We have a baby that wakes us up multiple times at night. He's not a good sleeper. Girls were never good sleepers as babies either, but we still were up and doing things like all the time. And I feel like that difference between being in Canada and being in Malaysia was, we just felt like being active.
Yeah, absolutely. And being active is one of the cool things about it is that I had the energy to go to the gym every day.
Which is huge.
Absolutely. You feel better. You take the time to work on your own health and well-being. And I just feel like there's more motivation.
Oke. Kita pause di sini. Perbedaannya guys ya, perbedaannya bahwa di Kanada dengan di Malaysia, bahwa di Malaysia dia merasa kehidupannya jauh lebih aktif ya, untuk berolahraga, gym dan lain sebagainya. Dia bergerak tubuhnya itu guys ya. Jadi selalu mengeluarkan keringat. Itu berbeda dengan yang ada di Kanada. Jadi proses untuk menurunkan berat badan juga bisa guys ya apabila berada di negara Malaysia. Nah ini yang ia katakan ya, aktivitas-aktivitas padat jika dia berada di Malaysia berbeda berbanding terbalik dengan apa yang ada di negaranya. Mungkin di negaranya dia merasa malas-malasan. Itu adalah faktor cuaca ya guys ya. Ini faktor cuaca yang mempengaruhi. Oke, kita lanjutkan. Apa saja yang ia katakan? Lai.
So what was the thing that motivated you to start going to the gym every day there versus like at home?
I don't know. I think it has a lot to do with energy levels. Like you said, right? You're in the sun all the time. You're absorbing the vitamin D.
It's a different
you have
lifestyle.
the fresh air. You have the jungle air. So you do have more energy, and I think that's probably the biggest thing for me. Obviously, wanting to be more healthy. I am getting older, so
we are getting older.
I've got kids, and I don't want to be an old dad.
Yeah.
I want to be able to play ball with my kids. I want to be able to do all those things. So that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And something I just mentioned that we have done a lot of in the last couple of months is walking.
So much walking, like an insane amount of walking.
Yeah.
Even my own 2 feet are like, what? I didn't know you're capable of this much walking.
Exactly, and that can be said. I mean, when it's raining, you would go to the mall.
Yeah.
And the malls there are
huge.
They're very big.
Yeah,
very
huge malls. So yeah, we did a lot of like activity, and I definitely see the benefits in our kids too. Like they sleep like solid, like right through the night. The girls do, and they wake up refreshed, and they're just like so happy. Alhamdulillah, like super blessed and lucky to see the benefits in our kids too. But like they didn't want to come back. They didn't want to leave Malaysia. They're like, can you just go pack up and come back in a week? I was like,
yeah, if only it was that easy.
If only we could do that. So yeah, the benefits we've seen in the entire family.
Yeah, it's definitely huge.
Oh, and the ocean. We should mention that too. Just being
I think
close
that's
to the ocean.
The ocean for me, having spent a few years living on the ocean as a kid, it's definitely therapeutic.
It is.
It's like when you the crash of the waves. When we stayed in Terengganu, and
right before we came.
Yeah. And there's the sound constantly when you're outside. As soon as you go outside
you hear the waves.
Your room, just the crash of the ocean.
And the smell too. Like you can smell the salty water, and I don't know. Again, we're just going to use the word therapeutic throughout this whole thing because
Which brings
it really is.
Brings me to point number 2 is the mental aspect of it, and that
emotional.
We always, because we are not winter people, because we don't do the winter sports and we just don't like being cold.
Yeah.
I suffer. I know you do a lot from seasonal depression.
100%.
That as soon as the sunshine is gone, it's like,
like it's like 4 p.m. in Canada and it's dark, pitch black outside. And whereas in Malaysia, the sun doesn't set till like 7-ish.
And it stays like that. It's constant throughout the year.
Yeah,
so
it's the
a
same
half an
time.
hour roughly changes. I think it's about 6 hours in Canada, roughly, depending on if we're changing the clocks back this year or not.
You feel like you have the whole day, to really enjoy yourself. And there's many mornings actually that you would get up early with Yusuf. If he was an early riser one morning, you would take him out.
And go to the beach.
Yeah, go outside.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and that, the benefits are huge. Like, I feel like there weren't really many days where I didn't feel like not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like, I was always like, let's do something today.
Yeah.
I feel energetic, not just unmotivated, just tired and sluggish. And no matter, even if I didn't sleep well because of Yusuf, I still felt like, I don't know, the emotional energy, I guess.
That would be the point.
Energized.
The second point of the mental aspect is the seasonal depression, but also the mental clarity.
Sekejap guys, kita pause di sini. Nah, di sini poin tambahannya adalah ketika cuaca yang mempengaruhi di negara Malaysia berbeda berbanding terbalik apa yang dirasakan di negaranya, yaitu di sini nilai positifnya anak-anaknya itu mentalnya sudah ini guys ya, sudah membaik ya daripada sebelumnya dia berada di negara Malaysia. Ternyata mental ini juga atau cuaca dapat mempengaruhi mental anak-anak ya guys ya. Bahwa dia katakan anaknya ini tidur dengan nyenyak ya atau pulas di negara Malaysia itu tidak dia lihat ketika anaknya tidur di Kanada, karena mungkin banyak sering terbangun-bangun ya guys ya. Mungkin karena keletihan ya, mereka terlalu banyak beraktivitas di Malaysia ya. Makanya di malam hari mereka merasa sangat lelah, jadi tidur lelap hingga pagi hari guys ya. Bisa saja itu terjadi. Oke, kita lanjut.
Because like eating healthier food when you're getting like locally grown and all year, I guess, is a growing season of something.
And the fruits.
Fruit, so much fruit. I don't know if that's the reason why. I just feel like there's more of less mental fog, like more mental clarity.
Maybe.
When you're in these places. Maybe it's the air, maybe it's the sunshine. I don't know.
Maybe it's a combination of everything.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the third thing I would say is the spiritual aspect of being there and just experiencing what it was like to be in a Muslim, predominantly Muslim country.
Which was one of our motivations in the beginning, to do this whole hijrah, this whole journey.
And especially during Ramadan. Especially during Ramadan. So
yeah, so we were actually in 3 different Muslim countries during Ramadan this year, which was pretty cool. So we were in Turkey, in Indonesia, and Malaysia.
Yeah.
Both of the other 2 were short excursions, but it's definitely a different vibe. It's definitely, you know.
Saya bangga juga guys ya, tadi negara saya juga disebut ya.
Just everybody on a different vibe. When we went into the office, everybody there is fasting, right? It's weird because normally you go to work and you're like the only one. Maybe there's another person, but it's like everybody just knows that we're all on the same page. So that was really a really cool experience.
Really cool, and actually you can walk through the malls. There were times where, you know, the girls were in their girls club and we went to a mall to just kill some time, and you'd walk through the malls and you'd see just like the Chinese restaurants full of non-Muslims that we're obviously not fasting, but you wouldn't see any Muslims around.
The food courts were
just empty. Yeah, it was weird.
We made I don't know if it was a mistake or if it was a plan, but the one time where we were at the mall and we're like, okay, we're gonna get home so we can do our iftar, we can break our fast at home, and then we're like, oh, it's not going to happen. So let's just go to the food court. We'll get set up, and then we'll be able to break our fast.
You can't unless you have reservation. People basically started lining up for iftar
at least like an hour before.
Yeah, and they would even like go put their table in place and then leave their bags there, and they would just peace out and go to the mall. But then they would have a reserved table. So we got lucky though. A few times we found an empty table, but most of the time it was like really long lines. So it's funny though, but it's really cool to see that community aspect. And most of the people that would come were in big groups of people. It wasn't like single people. It was like a group of friends.
Very family friends.
Yeah, a group of, you know, aunts and uncles and teenagers. And it's really cool to see people, you know, doing iftar together. And we hosted and attended a few iftars ourselves. So
which was really neat. We got to experience the Malaysian iftar with Malaysian food. I will say it's very different.
Yeah,
very different.
Definitely different than what we're used to.
I think that I did not enjoy. I'm pretty much, other than the resort, I never enjoyed ordering Malaysian food from a restaurant because it always turned out like raw.
Yeah.
We only did that a couple of times, and that was my fault.
Home cooked.
You remember the breakfast?
The home cooked ones were great, but the restaurants?
The breakfast in Langkawi?
Oh yeah. It was so weird.
One of those days where I'm up early with Yusuf, I thought, I'm going to order breakfast for everybody. It's going to be great. And
it was like a fried egg that wasn't really cooked.
Oh, it was very slimy.
And like a paratha, but it was like mixed together
with vegetables
with the
meats
meat sauce.
Could have been a donkey.
I don't even know what kind of meat it was, but it was so tough, and it was like mixed together. And I remember opening it up. I was like, we got to eat that. I was like, what is this?
Yeah. So I lost my privileges for ordering breakfast. But and on the flip side of that is that whenever we would go for an iftar with friends of ours' houses who were Malay, and they would serve the food. It was absolutely
I guess we just
delicious.
like need to know what to order. I think that's what it is.
I think we were kind of on that page now where we have an idea.
Yeah.
There's for me as a white Canadian, my favorite breakfast, and I already forgot the name of it. I don't know if you know it.
Chicken rendang?
No.
Nasi lemak?
No. That's their traditional breakfast. But this is basically like a paratha for everybody.
Oh yeah.
And then they just crack a couple eggs on a flat top.
Yeah.
And then they put this like flaky
flour. It's kind of like a paratha.
I know, but I'm thinking that people might not know what a paratha is.
I think it's called something roti, no?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let us know in the comments.
So they put the eggs down, and then they put this paratha pop the eggs, and then it all kind of sears together, flip it over, and then they roll it up.
Pretty good.
So good.
Lovely.
So good. That was probably one of my favorites. But
Yeah. Lovely. It was definitely like different getting used to having rice like for breakfast. I thought that was a little bit weird because for us, rice is definitely like a main course for like lunch and dinner. Like
so I don't do rice for
Pakistani.
breakfast, and
It's very different.
when I was in Bangladesh, it's rice 3 times a day, and
I guess,
I gave up on it. I told the guys, I was like, I'm not
No
eating,
more rice,
I'm not
please.
eating it. So I had to like get my own like cereal and whatever. But normally, it's a lot. But so
yeah.
like-minded people, but also you hear the adhan, you know what's happening, you know where you are.
You could you didn't. There was no like scramble to figure out what time iftar was. Because it doesn't matter if you're in a mall, it doesn't matter if you're in an airport, it doesn't matter if you're just even at home. All you gotta do is open the windows, and like the adhan will go off, and it's like, okay, it's time.
Yeah, time to stop fasting, time to start fasting.
Amazing.
Time to realize that you slept through and you're gonna have to fast all day with nothing. That happened a couple times, but that's pretty normal for everybody. That at least once during Ramadan. Let us know your experiences of having that happen down below.
Demikian tadi video yang baru saja kita saksikan guys ya. Dari video ini terkuak fakta hal yang sebenarnya mengapa mereka katakan bahwa kehidupan mereka merasa sangat aneh. Mereka rasakan saat mereka ada di negara Malaysia karena adanya hal-hal negatif di negara itu. Ternyata tidak ya guys ya, karena keanehan itu bukan hanya terkait tentang hal yang negatif saja, namun keanehan perbedaan itu di sini kita bahas tentang apa yang mereka rasakan atau hal-hal yang positif yang telah mereka nikmati selama ini di negara Malaysia, terutama dibahas terkait tentang cuaca ya guys ya. Jadi mereka katakan perbedaannya, perbandingan antara negara Malaysia dan juga Kanada dari cuacanya, mereka dapat lebih beraktivitas dan sesuka hati mereka dapat bepergian kemanapun dimanapun selagi mereka berada di negara Malaysia karena faktor cuaca yang sangat mendukung. Sinar matahari yang terus saja menyinari mereka di siang hari dan di malam hari, cuaca yang lebih stabil tentu membuat mereka bebas bergerak kemanapun, termasuk itu beraktivitas nge-mall dan juga gym ya guys ya. Dan aktivitas apapun mereka bisa melakukan itu. Tapi tidak ia rasakan di Kanada karena ada cuaca-cuaca yang berbeda yang tidak merekomendasikan orang untuk keluar rumah, untuk beraktivitas di luar rumah. Nah ini perbedaannya guys ya. Bahkan dia katakan akibat dari cuaca ini mereka itu dari vitamin D itu merasa cukup di dalam tubuh mereka ya guys ya. Hal ini tidak mereka rasakan di negara Kanada. Dan juga hal positif lainnya bahwa anaknya ya guys ya merasa sangat nyaman dan tidurnya itu sangat tenang di malam hari jika mereka tinggal di negara Malaysia. Hal itu tidak mereka dapatkan di negara Kanada. Nah itulah guys ya, karena infrastruktur dan fasilitas pendukung lainnya yang sudah membuat semua orang nyaman di negara itu, ditambah lagi dengan cuaca yang sangat bersahabat, itu melengkapi ya dari keindahan negara Malaysia yang membuat banyak turis asing yang tergila-gila. Bahkan jika sudah masuk negara Malaysia, mereka selalu agar tetap lebih lama lagi di negara itu guys. Itu faktanya. Oke, demikian tadi video aku. Semoga video ini bermanfaat bagi kita semua dan aku mohon undur diri. Mohon maaf jika ada kesalahan kata, kesalahan sikap kepada Anda semua. Dan aku akhiri. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.